You're probably sitting there scrolling through endless drone listings, wondering if any of them will actually give you the shots you need without turning your hobby into a wallet-draining nightmare. I get that hesitation. You've probably heard stories about drones that promise cinematic footage but end up crashing on the first flight, or batteries that barely last long enough for a single take. So before you click Add to Cart, let's dig into whether the DJI Mavic 4 Pro Fly More combo is the kind of tool that will actually earn its price tag for you. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest question most newcomers have is whether they can actually fly this thing without a ton of practice. The Mavic 4 Pro is built around an omnidirectional obstacle sensing system that covers the front, rear, sides, top and bottom. In practical terms, that means if you're shooting over a forest canopy or weaving between city rooftops, the drone will automatically pause or adjust its path when it senses something in its way. In my own test flights at a coastal cliff, I let the drone hover near a thin rock outcrop while the sensors did their thing. It stopped, gave me a visual cue, and I could either let it retreat or manually guide it around. That safety net makes the learning curve feel a lot less steep compared to older models that only had forward-facing sensors. Stabilization is another area where the Mavic 4 Pro really earns its professional label. The gimbal is a 3-axis system that stays rock solid even when the wind picks up to about 20 miles per hour, which is the kind of gust you might encounter on a sunny hilltop shoot. The footage I captured of a moving surfline stayed buttery smooth, and the built-in stabilization handled the rapid pitch changes without any wobble. If you're a hobbyist who just wants steady clips for Instagram, that level of steadiness means you can skip post-production stabilization software entirely. Now, let's talk about the camera itself. The Pro version carries a larger sensor than the standard Mavic line, which translates to better low-light performance. I tried a twilight shoot over a city skyline, and the sensor managed to keep noise low while preserving color detail, something that older consumer drones often struggle with after sunset. The autofocus is quick enough to lock onto a moving subject, like a kite surfer, within a couple of seconds, and it stays locked as the drone circles around. That confidence lets you focus on framing rather than worrying about the camera hunting. Battery life is often the deal-breaker for people who want to get serious footage without constantly swapping cells. The Fly More combo includes 3 spare batteries, and each one promises about 40 minutes of flight time in ideal conditions. In reality, when I was shooting a 10-minute aerial sequence over a vineyard, I still had roughly 15 minutes left on the battery when the shot wrapped. That extra margin is a huge practical advantage. You can plan multiple takes in one outing without scrambling for a charger. Of course, real-world factors like wind and aggressive maneuvering will shave off a few minutes, but the confidence of having 2 backups in the bag is priceless. One of the strengths of this package is the intelligent flight modes. Features like Focus Track let you pick a subject on the screen and the drone will automatically keep it centered while you concentrate on moving the drone to capture dynamic angles. I used it for a pet-themed video, and the drone followed my dog as it ran through a park without any jerky motions. The Master Shots mode strings together a series of pre-programmed moves: a rise, a circle, a dive, and stitches them together automatically. For creators who need a quick, cinematic sequence without spending hours in post, that's a real time saver. The accessories bundled in the Fly More combo are also worth noting. A 64GB microSD card eliminates the need to buy a separate memory card right away, and the backpack makes transport to remote locations far less cumbersome. The landing pad is a small but handy addition. Setting it down on uneven ground prevents the propellers from catching on rocks or grass, which is a common cause of crashes for beginners. All 12 pieces in the box feel cohesive, and you won't find yourself hunting for a missing battery strap after the fact. Who should consider this drone? If you're a working creator, say a real estate agent who needs smooth flythroughs of properties, a travel vlogger who wants to add high-quality aerial brawl, or a small-scale filmmaker looking for a lightweight cinematic camera, the Mavic 4 Pro checks most boxes. The obstacle avoidance, long flight time, and professional-grade sensor give you the reliability you need on client jobs, and the intelligent modes speed up your workflow. For hobbyists who are comfortable with a bit of manual flying but still want that safety net, this drone is also a solid step up from entry-level models. On the other hand, if you're an absolute beginner who has never piloted a quadcopter, you might still find the learning curve a tad steep despite the sensors. The remote controller has a fairly dense layout of buttons and a small screen that